new subscriber arrives, it fills you with determination.
Do you hear anything now, Joker? Okay, testing. Icicles, bicycles, tricycles, testing. Can anyone hear me now? Aha, that's good news. We have sound. Just let's do a quick check while we're here then. Do we still have sound? I think we do. My meter says we still have sound there. Cool. So what I can do is I can go back there, stop the recording, and start it again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for the YouTube intro. We've got a better one now. Thank you, Ming Rose. You can see and hear me. Oh yeah, I've got washing outside, so you're now seeing undercrackers flying about in the wind. Yay! That's really great. Possibly ought to try and not hang washing out when I'm streaming. Hello there, Minxie and Joko482, and thank you very much for that resub, Minxie Rose, now that I know that you're able to listen. Minxie Rose is always playing Coffee Fairy. Minxie Rose in this chat should be called Coffee Fairy. In fact, I might change her name in the Discord to the Magic Coffee Fairy of Magicalness. Speaking of the Discord, let me throw some links in chat using my handy dandy Stream Deck thing, because apparently they're good. I'm starting to think that I'm liking this. I can see why everyone raves over them. Don't forget scramble and bacon. Yeah, scrambled eggs and bacon. Always good. And I do need to stick that ham on. I'll probably stick it on tomorrow. So yeah, last time we came up with a problem. We found a problem whereby we're not getting, the bot isn't getting anything for longer commands. So to give the example that we used last time, let me go to, let you see the screen. All that seems to be set up. To be fair, I think we've done pretty well considering I literally finished a Windows update to the 1903 branch only a few seconds ago. So if I go add YouTube something long here about maybe following me on YouTube or some other random nonsense of failness. So that's a decently long... Oh, and it has just worked that time. So possibly need it to be an even longer command before it fails on us. So let me just kill this. I can't remember exactly what it was last time that failed, and I suspected it was a long command. Anyway, let me kill that YouTube command off. Delete record, write changes. And if I do that, however, add a little bit longer chat, I'm wondering if we're... Yeah, you see, it now doesn't pick that up. So if I kill the bot, kill it properly, bring it back up, and I try and use the command I've just used, which is that really long one, the bot doesn't see it. So maybe we need to debug in and see why the bot doesn't see that. Where am I going to stuff a breakpoint? Let's say on Twitch Receive. This is as good a place as any to look at this. So try that long command again. So we get Twitch Receive. Let's go in there. Let's see, we've got bytes received is 239. I need to not be showing some of that off. The buffer is 512, so we've not hit the buffer. Bytes received is not less than 0, so we need to return a standard string of buffer begin plus bytes received. So yeah, that's the return value. That all looks about right. And reply has come in at a decent length. Yeah, that's completely legit. Hi there, Codebase Alpha. How are you doing? I hear on your stream you've been playing with F# of late. How are you finding it? Anyway, let's go into parse. So we know what the reply is. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Da 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 da. Oh. That could be a problem, couldn't it? We're not getting everything in there. I didn't notice that. So let's run that through again and just try and clear it out. Revert. And then I'll try this all again and see where this is going wrong. So we're going to twitch.receive. I'll go in there. Bytes received is 272 this time. Now, out of interest, if I go and have a look at code, let's just paste this command in, see how long it actually is. We're on column 406, so we're way longer than we were. So this is interesting. The socket might not have returned everything. Hi there, Code and System Security. How are you doing? In fact, the socket definitely won't have returned everything because, of course, the buffer has got a lot more stuff than just that in. So maybe we are... What's the receive actually doing? Oh no, this is now the Winsock API. So how about we do a bit of debugging output here and go auto, actually let's do it where we can actually do this. Auto reply equals that lot. We'll return it and we'll stud see out it as well. I'm not too bad, thanks, Code and System Security. I hope you've had a good middle of your week. Control Z that. I want reply there, don't I? I'm trying to type and talk at the same time, and we all know how that goes when I try and do things like that. Okay, so that's a more reasonable thing. So if we stop, obviously that's something we can't do. So we're looking for this raw RECV once the bot spins back up again. So the bot's spun up. I'm going to try and add this command. Need to let that all come through. So the raw receive. We're getting 2 receives here. And if I just type !hi in, I'm getting, what's the raw receive off that? So the raw receive here, hang on, user type, user ID turbo, where was turbo? Let's go back from here, user ID turbo, TMI sent TS. So yeah, we're cutting off quite an amount here. That's interesting. So we need to get this more robust. Excuse me, command prompt, but do what you're told. So yeah, we're getting that first. Oh, the receives are incredibly raw, actually. I mean, Minxie Rose makes a very, very good point there when you say most messages won't be that long. But my comment to that would be, we've got a potential buffer overrun or buffer underrun situation here. So the raw receive again is this. This makes more sense. So we are splitting it. So we need to make sure that we are getting a big enough buffer. Okay, let's do this, shall we? Let's go in. Now that we know we've got the problem. Yeah, there probably is Codebase Alpha. Does IRC set a length message? It's not. Well, it might be 500 characters, but remember we've got we need to add a lot onto the front of that for what we receive from IRC. So what the IRC is going to send back is, well, what the server's going to send back is all the front matter. So that's quite long now. So I wonder if we've got that issue. I think Fuel Snable's completely right. We don't want buffer overflows. I don't want to rely on the fact that this is I don't want to sort of double the size of the buffer for that to become a problem again. I'd much rather guard this. And to be fair, I've got one idea on how to guard this kind of thing. I'm glad you're here, Fuel Snable, because this is probably a very, very important thing for us all to learn, how to guard against this kind of thing. Now, bytes received, I am wondering if we can do something simply, just concatenating strings. So we've already got the buffer. And then we'll literally do something like, how do we do this? If the bytes received well, let's actually have a look at the WinSock docs. I keep forgetting that because we're now working with C++, the MSDN documentation is quite good. MSDN, WinSock, receive. And let's see what it does. It is 500 characters, is it? That's good to know, Codebase Alpha. Let's have a look at what happens. So it takes a socket, it returns us a buffer, it takes length and flags. The return value will be a number of bytes, and the buffer pointed to, yeah, will contain the data. Okay, if the connection has been gracefully closed, it's a 0. Oh, hello. The message was too large to fit in the specified buffer and was truncated. So my theory is that if we have a look further down, yeah, it generates that. So if we look at some examples, yeah, if the number of bytes is to length, there may be more, but I think it actually generates this. I think we're looking at that as an error code. But it's actually going to come back with it as a return value as well. So let's make an assumption that this is what's going to happen. Let's have a look at a receive actually. Okay, they're not using that, but they are just receiving until the peer closes the connection, which we don't want to do. Because we only want to receive one message at a time. Well, okay, how about this? Let's test the idea. Let's say that we go... and we find out and we say bytes received here. So this could be the 512. This could also be something different. Let's see, let me use our test message of test messaging us again, if I can grab it. One grabbed a message. So we're getting raw with a number of bytes. That's cool. Oh, a demerging of the companies. Well, that sounds like it could be interesting. So with this, yeah, okay. So I think Fuel Snable's right. I think 512 bytes is the trigger now. So we could check for an error. I'm just wondering, there might be a situation where, and in fact, let's try it. There could be a situation where we get exactly 512 through, which should be this. And that is a... hang on, that's a 487 byte message that's come back this time. So why am I getting different numbers of bytes for these? That's interesting. So the 487 and the 512s have got, hang on, up to the ID, it's looking to be similar. Flag's the same. That ID isn't. Oh, there's something else in here. Yeah, flags are changing. Okay, so we can't easily work out if we've got the right number of bytes. So, I wonder if we can do... Forgotten Control-C breaks, doesn't it? So let's say that we look at the error. The last error. With error code of that, and we'll stick the dash in. Okay, so let's have another crack at this. Let's see what happens now, shall we? So again, we're getting error code 0 for most things. I kick that off and we should get an error code. We don't. On the grounds that we're not getting the error code that I thought we'd get, let's go with Fuel Snable's suggestion of 512 bytes means that we've got more to receive. Yeah, because then a 0 would just not receive anything. Ah, yes, the vacational formulation. That's what I'm hoping to do soon, at some point. So we are asking, if, well, while that is less than 512 or not equal to buffer length, then we'll go stud string reply. We'll do all of that and we'll go reply. Can we just do plus equals there? Does that make any sense at all? And then the raw receive, we don't get all of that, we just get that reply. Ah, you've got a couple of interns. Excellent, Fuel Snable. Please don't break them too much. And show them code like this. This is horrible, isn't it? Let's see what happens. Let's see if it works. I'm really not convinced I like this, but okay, let's get the copy and paste ready. McFly. Hello, McFly. Hello, bot. And of course, this is completely messed up. Let's try this. Let's try the loop properly, shall we? Let's try what we're actually aiming to do. So we want the bytes received there, and this is while bytes received, which of course we don't get because scopes, int bytes received. The more I see this, the more horrible this becomes. Has anyone ever actually used a do while loop? Because I don't think I've ever actually had to do that. I think this is a new one on me. But it seems to make sense. So let's refire the bot up now that there's half a chance of it working, and it seems to. Okay, so let me once again get my test and throw it at the bot, and we're getting the message, which means in theory we should be able to refresh this table and we get the command added. Ah, excellent. So we're there now. I think that one was a spurious one. So let's resave the changes and just try to make sure. So refresh now, and that command's back. So I make the assertion that we have completed the first task that we had. That was very, very simply, we need to kind of buffer this. Now, have we done safe buffering here? This is always a little bit sketchy when working with buffers and whatever, but I don't think there's anything wrong here. Also, let's get our naming back right. That would be lowercase c connection. Buffer length is a constant, isn't it? Where's that defined? Oh, it's a const extra. And that's probably in the header file, to be fair. Next interesting thing would be how much of this can we make const expert, const no accept, and all of that. Shall I make some quicker? Shall we make some assertions? Let's come out of the socket handling for now. Let's go back to code that's pure us. I would say that command impl. Oh, hang on. Whoa. So each of the bot commands, a bot command is a vector of gh command, a command is a stud function. Okay, I don't know if we can do much with that then. I don't know if we can declare a stud function, no accept, and all of that. That's fine. Let's go and have a look then at... Let's go into the registry. The registry's probably... Yeah, the registry will be fine, actually. That's the one we want. So, which of these can throw exceptions, which can be const expert, and all the rest of it? Load commands, I would say, let's see if that can be const. Hang on. So that should be constable. That's an interesting term for it. Where do I go to? In fact, can I do something a bit more interesting there? Can I make use of the IDE here? Have I got a nice refactor that says change signature? We have, but we can't change anything hugely. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Is there anything else we can do here? Create no. Alright, we're going to have to do this one manually. So let's say that this is a... I don't know if we can make this, you know. Well, we'll go back and we'll try it. I mean, they're now not arguing. That's now arguing because that can't be that. So repo is a command repository. Can that be const? Constant reference codebase alpha. In fairness, it's something I probably should look up because I can never remember all of these properly. There's also copy constructors and all that. So I need to look at this. Someone said const. Yes, Fuel Snable. I'm on a little bit of a mission now. As somebody who has watched, in fact, I posted it in the Discord. Let me go and grab a video that I enjoyed watching and has made me want to do more C++ and actually dive in properly. I posted it in the announcements. It's Applied Best Practices by Jason Turner, and I want to... Hang on, let's copy it. So yeah, const can't modify the object in theory. So on a const reference, only methods that are marked as const can be called. In theory, yeah, C++ anything's possible. I'm making the assumption that we are... I'm going to make the assumption that we are being reasonable people here. So that's now saying that we can't... simple commands. Yeah, I don't think this is actually constable, you know. I don't know, but I don't see how it can be. I wonder if we've got to, before we do anything like this. Well, hang on, the repo is not letting me be const. Okay, yeah, because we're doing all sorts of mutations here, this is a bit of a pity. That execute simple command, what does this actually do? So this grabs the command, it then does the transform, sends it. The send is a potential issue here, and then it does a cout. I would assert that this is at least no accept. Am I reasonable in suggesting that this should not be allowed to throw? In fact, that's in the wrong place then, isn't it? So is that a reasonable assumption to make? I think that is. I don't know if we need the... Well, I don't know if this could even be const. Fuel Snables are now, I suspect, going to come up with a reason why I shouldn't do it. Yes, it's reasonable. We are calling methods that might throw. Which methods are we calling that might throw? We are calling transform. I'm going to suggest that this should not be allowed to throw. A string constructor. Where do we call body.substr1? Well, hang on. I haven't asserted that body is particularly long, have I? What does parse do? Does parse assert that we've got a reasonable length? Parse asserts a reasonable length, realistically, because it'll return a null opt if not. So again, this should be no acceptable. Oh, stud cout. Yeah, we're calling out a string constructor there, aren't we? Implicitly, yeah. Yeah, because the string streams. Oh. So what we're saying is that is where we can't realistically assert that this is reasonable. We can't prove that this is going to be yeah. If you call anything that's not no accept, then it might throw. And I suspect that cout is not no accept. It doesn't look it. Pure app domain global. Extern CRT data import. OStream cout. OStream is basic OStream. Anything that allocates memory at any point. So I've kind of, realistically, that can't be a no accept then. Because as reasonable as it is, I can't guarantee that that won't throw. Let's have a look at what I've done here. So I've said we're copying a string. Yeah, well, we might as well remove the no accept completely. Oh, I wanted no accept. I wanted to be able to prove I wasn't going to throw exceptions in certain places. In which case, shall we look at the other bug that we need to fix tonight? Let's change gears. Let's go and hunt down the idea that we are going to, at some point, receive a message of ping from Twitch. Let's have a look at the docs. So Twitch, RC. That's the tags, but hey, that's close enough because then we can go to commands, or we can go to guide. So yeah, we know how to connect. We're using IRC. All the limits we know about, known and verified bots, we're not that bothered about. If we send an invalid command, we'll get a 421 back. That's fine. Join part private message. We've got scopes, we've got memberships, tags, commands, chat rooms, message ID tags. Do we have anything around the idea that we may end up with the pings and pongs? I am sure pings and pongs happen in here. About once every 5 minutes, the server will send you a pong tmi.twitch.tv. To ensure that your connection to the server is not prematurely terminated, reply with Pong TMI Twitch TV. Okay, so is that going to come in just on its own? That's literally all that's going to get sent, isn't it? So let's look for it. Let's go into main CPP and go. If it's a message that we've parsed, which the parsing is of that format, so it isn't that. So we go else if auto mess, just go reply equals that, then send Pong. Else we do nothing, we just go back through. But for now, what we can do is see out, need to send a Pong reply, stirred, endle, and then just to catch everything that we don't know yet, unrecognized, and then do that. So hopefully we will see this need to send a Pong reply if I leave this running for a few minutes. So what we'll do is we'll actually go and where is it? Debug. Start without debugging. Because of course starting without debugging is exactly what you should be doing from a debug menu. So we're now online. We've got some unrecognized things. That's reasonable. We expect that. What I'm hoping to see is at some point within the next 5 minutes or so, something about Twitch needing a Pong message back. So while we're here around the place, we need to, let's pull up a quick list of what we need to do. If I have a new watch to open, let's pull that back over to about there. No, alright, control scroll doesn't play nicely, so let's go font size, and if we say 24 for now, then that should be easier to read. So we need to handle ping messages. We've already dealt with long messages, I think. We need to handle ping, which we're in the process of doing, and we need to look at more robust database loads, because if we see here, we're now no longer checking that we've got that database open, which in fact that's in completely the, no, it's not in the wrong place, it's in the right place, kind of. Chat, we've not had a problem. I think we need to, well, I need to learn all about copy, move constructors, and references. Const extra. So we've got all of that to learn about. I need to... What else do we need to do in this bot for now? Realistically, I'd like to just get this to a point where we can where we can just kind of get on with trying other things on stream as well. So at least get this usable, which I think we're close now. I think we really, really are very close. I can't think of anything I use a bot for that this one couldn't do. Oh yeah, timing and things. So we do need to look at auto commands. What other features do we tend to use in a bot on here? I don't know. Hi there, Turbo Nautilus. How are you doing? New Surface Pro. Wow. Oh gosh, what are new Surface Pros like? For reference, the last one I had was a Surface Pro 2, and the screen was too small. I needed something bigger than, I think that was a 10.5 or 11-inch screen. I do need to. I'll look that up actually. What do people think about the idea of going back to F# and Fabulous, and with the lessons that we've learnt reasonably recently with the Element architecture and the updates to that, about looking at getting a mod bot sorted out? So have this become a sort of mod bot. Then I can use commands from a phone or something. So I can look at a list of you guys, tap on one of you, and issue you a warm welcome. Because the Stream Deck, I can't do that. I can tell the Stream Deck to put something into chat, but it's only a fixed string. I can't say to the Stream Deck to do something like that. The Stream Deck just won't do that part of it. So I'm thinking that we need something. Let's say, and to be fair, I'm just doing this really because I want to see. Aha! Hello! There's your ping. Why has that come in and not been recognised? Why did that come in as unrecognised? Do you know why it's come in as unrecognised? /R//N at the end. It starts with so let's kill the bot. Let's have another go at it. Let's kill that off. And let's actually throw a breakpoint there, so that if it actually comes in, we get notified a little bit quicker. Talking about Surface Pros, it's your first Windows PC in years. Great to have Windows Hello, which is something I don't have on my current laptop. Instant wake up and a very sturdy case. You're not sure if you should install on it. Not sure if you should install what on it, Turbo Nautilus. Low voltage i5 and 8GB of RAM. To be fair, that will be surprisingly capable. My laptop's running a low voltage i7, but it was the last gen one, so it's still only a dual core, and it runs Visual Studio fine. I've seen it run on much. I've seen VS run on weaker. For UWP and Xamarin with Android emulator, the only thing I'd say there is the Android emulator, just be careful how much RAM it uses. Everything else will be absolutely fine on a Surface Pro. I'm just worried about an Android emulator in 8GB of RAM, because I normally allocate it. To be fair, I allocate buckets to everything because I can. I suppose you could allocate it half a gig and get away with it. Have you got an Android device? Because honestly, something, I don't know if you were here when we were doing mobile dev, it got to the point where deploying to the hardware became easier at times than using an emulator, which was slightly annoying given that I'd need an extra camera to work all that with. Fuel Stable, you think your desktop computer is weaker than that and you run VS. I don't think VS will be a problem at all. I think Visual Studio will be fine on essentially nothing these days. Certainly on consumer grade hardware. Very consumer grade. Well, let's have a look at the system requirements. To be fair, it only really wants 2 gig of RAM. Yeah. You're an iOS dev during the day, no Android experience at all, which is why you have a look at Xamarin. Both ecosystems with one familiar code base. That's a nice promise. If you want that, look at Xamarin Forms. Be prepared that it's hard work to get something completely native for both setups. But, I mean, it's a wonderful tool, a wonderful idea. And if you like functional programming, Turbo Nautilus, I will sort of mention the Fabulous framework, which uses Xamarin Forms. And in fact, we might go back to playing with this again at some point. Something I can say for this is it's all well and good sort of developing in Visual Studio. I do wonder if we could do this in VS Code. Fuel Stable is moaning once again about Spotify, which I wholeheartedly understand, because Spotify isn't Spotify a... Go on, we'll have a quick Ask Me Anything while we wait for this new ping to come through, because I suspect we haven't had it. Can I do a find in here? I can. That's telling me we haven't had a ping yet, and that's also telling me that I forgot to drop the speaker volume down a little bit. Okay, so and in true Blue Peter fashion, there it comes. Yeah, /r/n. Cool. Yeah, that's where we were getting the problem. Excellent. So what we can do now is very quickly just go reply equals that with the characters on, and instead of coouting that we're sending the pong, what we can do is we can just go send message. Do we get a... Yeah, we've got the send message, haven't we? And we just send the pong back. Now, we don't need the /r/n because we are absolutely fine. That'll get added by the message sender. Oddly enough, what we could have done, had we thought about it, is when looking at the at the buffer situation, we could have looked for those as the last 2 characters that came back in the buffer, and if they were not the last 2 characters, keep reading until those are the last 2 that we get back, rather than relying on the buffer length. And then we could even strip those out. That might have to be a thing. We might have a play with that in a bit, actually. But also check for the... Oh, that could be a little bit... No, that could be a bit tougher. And we could expose ourselves more to buffer issues. I don't know whether we're looking at underrun or overruns. But either way, I think we've now got the pings and pongs working correctly. So let's respin the bot up. We'll spin it up as a non-debug attached process. So we can at least sort of tick that off our list now. More robust database loading, learning about copy and move constructors and references, const expr, all the rest of it so that we can try and apply them where we need them. Auto commands and mobbot. Well, mobbot is actually more a case of can we get something... Can we even work with a WebSocket or something like that? So if you remember the Rust thing that we did a while ago, can we kind of incorporate that into this? So could we look at a WebSocket interface or a, spin an HTTP server up on here for us to play with regarding that kind of thing? Cross-platform. Why don't we look at cross-platform now, actually? Why don't I learn how to type? Cross-platform. So at the moment, this is cross-platform with one exception. We need in fact, I've abstracted this all out into the socket. And this is a horrible, horrible bit of horribleness where I'm saying that we have to be TB, what was TB? TwitchBot, Windows or Unix, and all of that nonsense. So, oh yeah, and this is where we had FuelSnable teaching us about copy constructors, I believe. Something that we do need to come back to. So, my reckoning is Boost has socket support, does it not? Boost socket support. Right now I'm learning how to code Maybe Speak as a whole different stream. I don't know. My typing is not good. Don't worry. We're not going to Maybe Speaking. We're not going to do it. So, network programming. We can do a thing. So, what is Boost going to do for us here? Have we got a main? Yes, we have. So, TCP resolve a query and pass it host and a port. Then we resolve it and IO service.run. So, what's IO service? And where is that defined? FuelSnable ready for move constructor. Do you know what? Yes, let's do that. So a move constructor, if I remember rightly, looks like is that roughly the syntax for a move constructor? I mean, deleting it's probably not a clever idea. And if we click no, oh no, it's just the linker that's moaning. Okay, and the linker will moan. I mean, to be fair, we're not printing out when we get that, so we can kill this bot. But yeah, let's see. I mean, the linker's moaning. Can we actually get rid of the move constructor here? Oh, no, we can't. No, we can't. That's going to cry, isn't it? Instead of delete default. Okay, so we're back. Default does good things, in theory. In the language where the defaults don't do great things, I'm not sure that that's always going to be the truth, but go on, let's have default there. What about default for the copy constructors here? For the copy constructor and the assignment operator? Do we move those? No, because if we move those to default, that means that they'll actually do something. I mean, we're back running again. And that was the syntax for move constructor. Now, from what I recall, and this means that we're going to have to go back and make sure that I'm right. Once you have used a move constructor, does that now... Let's do a thing. So let's say I've got B equals 5. If I then go and use the move constructor C2, yeah, on B to make a C, I'm then guessing that at that point there we have a use after free. Is that essentially what a move constructor is? So we're going to move this value B into C. Now we're going to try and use B, and you're not allowed. Okay, so if we need a non-default destructor, we need a non-default move constructor and copy constructor. I think wasn't the idea of getting rid of the copy constructor and the assignment operator so that we could ensure that we'd only got one socket opened at any given time? Am I right in my thinking there? No, we shouldn't use B there. Yeah, we shouldn't use B there because it's been moved into C. So very much like what Rust does. The move constructor would make B empty. Again, that's an often thing, and again, this is C++, which trusts you to be a good programmer rather than tries to force the point. Views on that are entirely up to individuals, I think, there. But yeah, essentially I think C++ encourages good behaviour where Rust goes, no, you're not going to be naughty, I'm not going to let you. No chance. So, this being said, let's go back because we still have the whole, what's it to deal with? Yeah, the move constructors are great. That does seem reasonable because you've only got one at a time. So yeah, we'll leave that equal to default. So where are we going? We've got a connect handler and a read handler. Now where are these actually used in this? Resolve goes do a connect with the connect handler. Connect then goes read some and goes to a read handler. Okay, so this is all async. The bot's not running. Hang on, Minxie Rose, I'll... There you are. Well, I'll give you a version of the bot to play with while we're playing about. Just means that we can't compile and link at the moment. So, what we're saying is, so this sends and writes on a socket. So this is trying to get a web page essentially. And then async read some goes to the read handler. The read handler grabs us some bytes transferred. But where are the bytes? It's that stud array. Okay, and that's another quick point. Let's have a look at where we're doing arrays, because I don't think we're using standard array, and I don't know if that's a bad idea. Minxie Rose, what I'll probably do is I will probably have a break in a few moments and get that settled up. So stub vector char is a stub vector char of buffer length. Now, and that's because I'm apparently not... Oh, it's a vector. That would explain it. Why did I have that as a vector and not an array? Because I already know that that is going to be of length, buffer length anyway, don't I? So is there any reason why that wouldn't work nicely? Incomplete type is not allowed. Okay, incomplete type not allowed. Stud array. Car 4096 is byte, stud array, whatever. Why are you claiming to be an incomplete type then? Because I disagree that you're incomplete. Because yeah, that is just 512. Include array. Do you know what? That would be smart, wouldn't it? That would be very smart. And now that is a complete type. And I think rather than using a vector, using an array there makes sense because we're fixed length anyway. So why are we messing about with vectors? Why don't we just do this as an array? Let me go to precompiled headers. If we're using the precompiled headers, do we need the includes in here? I mean, I've not got a problem with us having them. I just question if we need them. And more to the point, if I go to pch.hpp now, we need to include array in here, don't we? The only thing is if I... yeah, it is going to take stack space because I think we do allocate it on the stack. Because if we... how do we know if we're allocating on the stack or the heap? This is another thing I need to learn. So that's probably something we ought to look at now that Fuel Stable brings it up. C++ stack versus heap allocation. So let's skip over Stack Overflow. The stack and the heap, learn C++. Well, that looks a little bit more reasonable. So new is allocates to the heap. Yeah, fair enough. And we grab a pointer. Now, I don't like that idea, but I don't know if a stud unique pointer would help us here. Oh, Hubblebot has thrown the Pong out as a message, hasn't it? So for now, that's not going to work. We actually need to do something different here. Okay. We'll do that in a minute. Let's carry on looking at the stack and the heap. So, do we want to allocate to the heap, and if so, how? Without using new, how do we just do it the nice way? Okay, so we're not allowed to put huge amounts on the stack, that's fine. Stud vector capacity and stack behavior. So stud vectors are on the on the heap, are they? Okay. More length versus capacity. Stack behavior. Okay, so so this is just learning about stacks more than anything. C++ heap allocation. Is there a sensible, reasonable way to use the heap, and should we do it? As in, do we want to use the heap here? New and delete. Well, I don't want to use new and delete if I can help it. Let's go CPP reference. Stud array. Okay, there's... oh, hang on, hello. That's an experimental, but fair enough. Stud experimental make array. Because make array throws it on the heap, doesn't it? Am I right? Am I being reasonable? So that's gonna grab me a make array. Are we an array of 5 ints? For decl type that. Stud array int 5. Okay, is that thrown on the heap or the stack then? If D is void, okay. If it's specialization, then the program's ill-formed. Doesn't say anything about where we're throwing, where that's going. Stud array is just a container. it's a C-style array essentially, but you can't just point straight at it. You can have initializer lists for it, cool. Do you know, what's 512 bytes on the stack? Is that a lot, or is that not going to be a problem, do we think? I mean, maybe we ought to try and look at C++ profiling and seeing where everything's allocated. But for now, we've got array in there now, so let's fire this up. Which means I can quickly kill that version of the bot. And if I fire this up, we'll go into, well, it'll take a while to build because we've modified the precompiled headers. That's fine. We can do that. It does give me time to have a quick sip of coffee, which at this time of day is probably not a clever idea, is it? Oh well. Usually 2 meg stack, but in a loop can be an issue. We're only declaring one Twitch socket though, as I recall. I think we only get one of these, and then we're looping and using the same buffer over and over again. So calling receive, the whole thing is only ever using one of these RFK buffers. Let me have a look at. We got the diagnostics window, or did I murderate that because I didn't like its face? Probably, actually. Diagnostic tools. So yeah, I mean at the moment we're using what, 3 meg of RAM. What would be nice is to see, well that's heap profiling. So we'll enable it. We'll respin it. Nah, bother. Okay, kill it and start it again. I want to see if anything is going on the heap yet. And so far I'm seeing absolutely... Oh, I'm seeing some allocations. What's going on the heap then? So we've got a load of void objects going on. Which this is all SQLite 3 stuff. Wow, it goes deep. And this is what, 87k, 120k there. So this is all going on the heap, but this is not us. Tree node. Wonder what that is. That looks like... Oh, this is the map stuff. So there is stuff from map going on. Let's kill that. Let's break. Can we break and then go into here and take a snapshot? Because then we should be able to get values, I'd say. Okay, we can. What's that? SQLite malloc. Okay, so we're into SQLite stuff here. I think, in essence, can we look at the stack size? Does anyone know how to look at the stack in Visual Studio? If not, I'm going to look this up anyway. Visual Studio. So .NET memory allocations view, that's .NET ones. I'm probably not going to get allocations. can we look at the stack? I mean, we're back on Stack Overflow, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, I want to have a look at the stack. Can I look at not just the call stack? Can I have a look at the viewing the call stack? Yeah, we've got the call stack because it's here. I don't just want to see that though. I want to see the frame. What's the frame status? Open the memory window and point it to @ESP. It's telling me to go away. Output watch one. ESP is that. So if we go up to, I'm presuming that address now, it's telling me to go away. To be polite about it. So we can see the call stack, but can we not see the? Well, we'll display that as hexadecimal, and then that's exactly the address window will take hexadecimal or decimal. It'll take whatever we want. There's APIs to support the stack. Is the stack the same as the call stack? I mean, that's, again, this is how little I actually know. Enjoy your lurk, Minxie Rose. So, view stack. So, can we look at the stack frames? Yeah, we know what a stack frame there is. Can I look at a stack frame though? Monitoring call stack size. Data breakpoint. Why minus that? Examine the ESP in the watch window. And then compare it to what it was at the start of the process. So, or RSP on a 64-bit machine. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, we're working in 64-bit. So maybe we should use the full 64 bits of the register. And that looks a little more believable. As in, there is something there. I'm not entirely sure what there is there, but there is something there. And if we continue to run and then potentially try and stick a breakpoint in the right place, so let's go to wherever we're using it, so receive would not be a bad place to stuff this. Change to 64-bit word or 32-bit words, otherwise it'd be hard to read the values. Cool. Keep typing things in chat, please, Fuel Snable, because I think we'll make this break at the right point, or shall I do it with a high? There we are. So we've got something, and if we go columns, whatever, how do we change this to display different things? Let's say 4 byte. Unicode text. Oh no. We can go back to at least anti-text there. essentially this is not giving me what I was hoping to see. And yep, as Nightbot correctly says, please come and have a look at the Discord. Do we want to go big endian? No, that probably isn't the right answer. Do we want hexadecimal display, signed display, unsigned? Big endian on those, yeah, isn't going to be the right answer. 8-byte ints. This probably isn't the answer, actually. Let's just make sure that we're back where we were. To be fair, I was just looking to see if this buffer were on the stack. I wanted to know where this buffer lay. Actually, I wanted to see the size of the stack. That was it. I wanted to know how big this stack was getting. And I don't know how to read all of this. I assume that all of these rooks of C's are nothingness. Okay, so the buffer is actually there. So the buffer is... Don't know how to do anything other than that for interesting. Is there... Aha! So that's where the buffer is. Where did we say the stack was? At 600. So the stack starts a little bit before there. Quite a bit before there. So the stack starts around there, and then if we scroll down here, we start to see that's where we are now with that buffer. I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but it's always fun to poke around memory. Rooks of C's could be the initial uninitialized array. You could be right there, I think, Fuel Snable. I mean, right now that buffer has changed again, and it'll change repeatedly. But incidentally, it's staying in the same place. So we're only using that one buffer repeatedly. So I think sticking, 512 bytes on the stack, I'm not upset about that. I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm probably not going to lose sleep over that one tonight, I'm afraid. Let's get rid of that because we don't need it anymore. If I want to see something cool and worrisome, OpenAI stuff. Do you know what? I'm going to read this off stream, I think. Okay, so this is... so a human's written that, and then AI has written that. This lot after it. And yeah, that could be scary to read. I will do that one off stream. If you could drop a link to that in the Discord, please, Fuel Snable, that would be wonderful. I'm sure you are in the Discord, so it doesn't really matter too much. I don't need to poke the button. Do you know what, Fuel Snable? It's probably too believable to be your standard fake news. That's the worst of it. So, unwinding the stack a little bit, and we're looking at Boost network programming. And I want to see what we can do about it. Because I'd like us to use this rather than using WinSock for now. Otherwise, we could do other things. But now that we've got Boost, it seems silly writing our own sort of platform layers for sockets. We've interacted with WinSock. We know how to work with it. Let's try and take the higher level thing. So let's go and have a little play at Boost sockets and Boost network programming. So what we need is, from this Twitch socket header, let's kill off all of this because we don't need it. And let's say that connection is actually back to being a socket. Actually, what should a socket be in Windows? Because I know it converts to a uint64. Let's have a look at what send actually works with. Oh, sockets in capitals. Okay. So that's back to something a little bit more reasonable. That's essentially where we were. So Twitch Socket Connect can now become something a little bit more reasonable. What are we suggesting that the connection to a socket is? Well, let's grab a resolver. And what do we need here? We need the boost include here. Essentially, I want to try and take those out as well. TCP.hpp, and then that is now going to say that you should be in boost ASIO IP yada yada yada. Well, let's shut that there for now. So we're going to query, but we're going to query something a bit more interesting. Let's say irc.chat.twitch.tv, because that's where we need to go, and we're on port 6667. Runeater, how are you doing? I don't believe I am using a deprecated language. I'm using a language that is really rather modern at the moment. C++ 17. C++ 20 is coming out at some point soon. Glad to hear that you're doing great. But yeah, I mean, C++ is far from deprecated. In fact, for a lot of uses, it's still the best thing to use. So I'm quite happy carrying on using C++. In fact, I'm only just starting to learn it, and it's quite fun. Runeater, because I want to play with C++. Simple as that, really. I don't want the added complexities of C#. I don't really want. I don't know why I need to use C# for this project. I think this was a project designed for me to use C++ to learn the language. And quite frankly, I'm finding it quite nice. Hi there, Zorkenheimer, how are you doing? Not using a 60-year-old language. Yeah, I don't see a problem with using C++. Clearly I don't. I'm using it on stream. I mean, if you wanted to use something more modern, you could go down the Rust language route, which is intended to be a replacement for C++, another really rather quite reasonable language. I don't really think there are many languages out there that have got the stated aim and the ability to replace something like C++. It works. There's a reason it's been around for more than 5 or 10 years. There's a reason it's older than a fad. And yeah, I think these days C++ is becoming quite modern. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, if you choose to use other languages, I'm certainly not going to be disparaging towards other languages. I think right tool for the job, and the job I want to do is learn something slightly lower level than managed languages. I don't think C++ is a bad place to start. So, carrying on. We have the query, so we now want to resolve. Now need to async resolve that with the resolve handler. So that takes an IO service. IO service is there. Okay, we could probably get to use a good amount of this anyway. So let's suggest that we have in the header, let's have all of this lot. In fact, let's not do this. Let's leave this one working and leave it exactly as it was. So wherever my new part was can disappear. Let's then suggest that we add a new class called Twitch Connection, and we can do things with that. What we're making is a very simple Twitch bot at the moment, and that is in completely the wrong place. Just a simple Twitch bot. Probably won't even be used for a huge amount. It's just here because I want to play. And I think it's only reasonable that people who want to play with a Twitch bot write their own. It's just a nice thought. I think so anyway. And I'm going to go with it. Anyway, how's your day been, Ronita? I do apologise, I forgot to ask. How are you doing? And if we could all welcome Ronita in, that would be wonderful, please and thank you. Do apologise, I should have done that earlier. Made sure you're welcome here. Let's go and have a look at twitchconnection.cpp. Same as usual, just want to find a project idea. In which case, can I advise the simplest thing I can think of? Which is, look at something that you want to do and do it. A talk I posted in chat a few moments ago sort of mentions that as a way of learning a new language. Find yourself a new project. Something that you want to do, something that solves a problem of yours that seems reasonably simple. And seems reasonably simple is the thing there. It doesn't actually have to be particularly simple, it just has to make you believe that it's simple for long enough to get you invested enough that when you find out that it isn't, you're too far in to give up. So, I mean, what do you enjoy doing, Ronita? What sort of projects have you done in the past? What kind of tool sets do you want to work with a project? Do you want to do a project based off a tool set, or do you want to pick your tool set once you've got your project? Minxie Rose, that is the correct command. That's a good command to use. We like that one. Yes, please. Unfortunately, I have killed the bot because I'm doing work on it at the moment. But yes, a bot would, a mug of coffee, well, if you chuck the kettle on, that would be most wonderful, please and thank you. Right, so what's this moaning at? This wants an include, doesn't it? Include, boost, ASIO. IP. Shall we just go for that for now? I'm sure that will have everything in that we need. Probably got too much. Every time you get back to that, you just make hacks for games like Battlefield 1 and the like. So you mainly play about with or work with games and modding games. I don't know. I don't really know what I'd suggest to you. Ah, thank you, Minxie. My mug's just disappeared, so I think I'm on coke for a moment or three. I mean, the only real way to come up with a project is come up with something that helps you. I don't think there's really anything that I can do to kind of pick a project for someone and expect them to get it to work. I mean, what I would suggest, especially if you, how do I put this in the nicest way? I used to think exactly the same as you, why use C++ and all that. So, my question to you then is now, why not use C++? And I think if you did something, let's say, like a parser combinator library, or at least a parser in C++, or if you did something reasonably simple in C++, I mean, how much C++ do you know? You learned on C, transitioned to C++, moved on to Java and C#. How long ago did you move away? Oh, you still do stuff in C++. So, you know that C++ isn't deprecated purely by the fashion that you use it. So how well do you know C++? Do you know the newer versions? Do you know about the stuff in 17, 14, even 11? Because I would make an assertion that C++ is not deprecated. And I don't, without wanting to sound dismissive, because I don't want to, I don't understand how anyone can come to the conclusion that C++, a very widely used language and a language that in certain choices, in certain cases, is your only realistic choice, in a lot of embedded scenarios, for instance, I don't understand how you can come to the conclusion that it's deprecated when there are no languages out there, with the possible exception of Rust, that are even challenging C++ on its home turf. And even with Rust, it's out of beta, but it's not that battle tested. I mean, you certainly couldn't go around and easily program a microcontroller in Rust. You've got to set your tool chains up and whatever. It's a lot more difficult than C++ to get going with. Now, yeah, that's probably only a tooling issue, and that's probably something that's fixable. But I have to refute the idea that C++ is deprecated. I'd say that it's completely, well, it's definitely not deprecated. It's completely supported. There is the standards committee still meets. The standards committee are pushing forward with newer standards and bringing it into the 21st century. So, again, I can't agree. If you want to try and change my mind, feel free. But I will warn you, that's not going to be easy. Anyway, let's carry on with trying to get Boost to work. Again, Runita, C# it's a nice language. It's one that I use at work. But I don't think it's the best of all worlds. I think it's a reasonable language in the scenarios that it's good in. I wouldn't use it for anything that I consider performance critical. I wouldn't use it for anything where I consider that I need to know everything that's going on. That's not to say it's not a good language. It is, but I think you're overselling it. which is a shame. I mean, it'd be lovely if you could do everything in C#, because asserting that language is the best of all worlds means that you can do everything in it, and you can't. As much of a C# fanboy as I am, as much of an F# fanboy as I am, as much of a fanboy of all sorts as I am, I'm gonna have to say that that's probably not gonna happen. That needs to be one of those. That probably needs to be one of those and one of those. That then needs to be a one of those. Oh, hang on. I think probably IP TCP. Not HBP. Is that more reasonable? Or shall we just do, the naughty thing for now and include the world? // if you please. So yeah, I think I'm agreeing with Zorkenheimer here. I mean, to be fair, if you don't want to see anyone use so-called old and outdated languages, thank you very much, Minxie. Coffee arrived. I've got a coffee fairy. I mean, to make the point, Runnington, if you don't want to see anyone using a quote-unquote old, antiquated language on stream, you must never ever go and watch Zorkenheimer do assembly for the 6502 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, you mustn't do that. For anyone else who's interested in languages, interested in programming, and interested in the lower levels of things, as in, to someone like Zorkenheimer, what we're doing is ridiculously high level. To anyone that's interested in register poking, memory poking, go and watch Zorkenheimer's stream. It's fantastic. But if you don't want to use if you don't want to see a language that's been around for more than a few years, probably ain't the place to go. Unless he's using Go for something. I've seen him do that as well. So, choices and it's choices at the end of the day. Anyway, we've got an I/O service, a resolver, and a socket that are TCP sockets from Boost. Yeah, so do I, Minxie Rose. So do I. In fact, if you're streaming reasonably soon, Zorkenheimer, we might have to throw a raid in your direction. Okay, now I'm hearing some Hadaway What Is Love out of my window. Yeah, you just go for some helper programs that you can't compile Go to 6502 assembler. Can I just make the point, Zorkenheimer, that have I got to point out that Jason Turner's been compiling C++ to 6502 assembly just for the fun of it? He's been, I think, what does he do? He compiles it using GCC to i386 assembly, and then has an x86 to 6502 conversion layer to compile, to transpile from x86 to 6502 so that he can write using C++ 17 for a Commodore 64 was what he's been doing. So yeah, I mean, you could try and do that with Go, but you've got a garbage collector to deal with. With C++, you just haven't. Horribly inefficient, maybe, but it works and it was a proof of concept. Apparently it was easier to do that than to make an LLVM backend for 6502 assembler. And as inefficient as it sounds, annoyingly, the C++ compilers, GCC in particular, give you so much optimization that it didn't seem to be that ridiculously inefficient. I mean, it wasn't efficient, but it was. Yeah, I mean, I agree that I thought it would be easier to make the LLVM back end. Apparently not. This is, according to Jason Turner. In fact, let me get that video. Jason Turner C++ 6502. That must find it. Yeah, I mean, I'll stick a link in chat now. Enjoy your Minx Heroes. But yeah, that's Jason Turner doing a simple Commodore 64 game in C++ 17. And it works. And it works on a genuine Commodore 64. Spoiler alert, he gets one of those SD2IEC things and demos
Our
it.
community grows.
Thank you very much for that follow. I'm going to assume that that is Power Down Sis. And that's just the consonant. If I'm wrong, which I am undoubtedly going to be, please do let me know, and let me know how I am supposed to pronounce that. Also, welcome in. The usual. How are you? How's your hump day been yesterday? How did you find us all? How did you find the place? So, carrying on around here, we've got an IO service, we've got a resolver, we've got a socket. I've literally just copied these from Boost because I can. So I make the assertion that the connect handler is what happens once we connect. So async resolve to the resolve handler. So this is all going to be async stuff. So let's see if we can make this work reasonably well. So we're constructing a query queue using an initializer list. Then we're going to try and resolve that with resolve dot and then a resolve handler. Now resolve handler isn't defined. So let's for now pinch this. I'm only pinching it for now. We're going to be moving on and working around it at some point. Now this again is TCP resolver query. At this point, and I don't like it, but let's stick these two usings in now. Because we're going to need... Oh, hang on. TCP socket. Where's TCP socket? That's not defined, is it? Well, it should be. Ah! Okay, and I will bet now that this won't work. Because we've now got a situation where we're using... We've seen this before. Because this actually takes the bind. So, let's do something a bit different. Let's suggest that we turn this into a lambda. Auto resolve handler equals that stuff. Of course, that captures wrong. It needs to capture TCP socket. I'm going to suggest that for now, it needs a reference to it because it is going to mutate it. TCP socket is not a variable. I'm going to say that it must be, but do we need to make it a this? Okay, so passing TCP socket in. Well, I'm sorry, but it is a variable. I don't know what you're talking about here. The enclosing function this cannot be referenced unless it's in the capture list. Can we really do we really want to pass that through? I'm not convinced we want to do that, but yeah, we need to, don't we? So yeah, we need to pass the references of everything through, which means we've got a connect handler issue here now, as well as TCP resolve. Oh, that's only moaning because of that, I think. So we've got a resolve handler, which is a lambda. This could work. So let's grab our connect handler next, and this is where we're going to change things up. So we've now got that connect handler again. Let's yeah, we can't do a function within a function, can we? Can we? Can we do that? I didn't think we could. I think we have to do again auto that equals that. And now we've got other things. So right is not there. I wonder if that's just in boost ASIO. Yeah, let's just grab these includes. Instead of using the big one, let's just grab those. Right is probably in that namespace. So for now, let's just chuck that using in there. Bytes is undefined now. Bytes was our reading. So what we're reading into, so it's our buffer. Now we've already built ourselves a buffer. Let's just pinch that again. We don't need to pinch the fact that it's a 512 byte buffer though. So in here, let's have the buffer. Let's say that it's now 512 straight up. And yeah, let's call it byte. Let's keep it as it was. So we've now got that, and it's now a read handler. But what this is doing is, on a connection, it is writing this out to the socket. That's not what we want it to do. So this is where we can start playing about. Once we've connected, what do we actually want to do? Let's have another look at the Twitch socket CPP. So on a connect, we return an int, and all it does, it sends the password and the username. Does it ever do a receive first? I'm going to say it probably doesn't, so I'm going to say that we need to send the password and the username. Does that seem realistic? So we need to pass in a password and a username into our connection. So let's make ourselves a constructor. Twitch connection stud string user username. Thank you very much, Bionic Yeti. How are you doing? Thank you for dropping in. What's going on at the moment is I'm trying to write a bot to use Twitch. Well, a bot to... Hang on, let me try this again. A bot so that we can issue commands in Twitch and it can give information out, like the social information, which if you do want to join the Discord, let's use Nightbot to give us some information. So essentially I want to replace this Nightbot. So I'm trying to write that at the moment.
Our community grows.
Thank you very much for that follow, Bionic Yeti. So yeah, what we've been doing so far is Windows specific, and I want to move it so that it'll work in something like Linux or on a Mac or really whatever operating system people choose to use. Ah, thank you. Well, feel free to stick around if you enjoy it. Of course, let's make sure that let's pass a constant reference in because we don't need to copy the username and password. I mean, in theory, we could just move them in. I don't see why we couldn't move these. Is that the move syntax? At any rate, let's pass them as constref. Because we're not going to be changing them, so we don't need them moved in. And if I create that definition there, we'll go and have a look. So we need we're getting the constructor. Always like to have my constructors reasonably high up. And to be fair, these are going to be reasonably simple because all we need is we need to grab the username and password out. So stirred string username, and we'll get the password as well. We'll just set those in the constructor. In the usual way. So we've now grabbed our username, we've grabbed our password, so we can now write two things out. And are we literally just sending them as right? Yeah, we are. Because we're just doing that. So let's grab this out and let's say that we're going to write to that socket the, well, buffering these up. One stage you have work at 6. What time is it where you, well, whereabouts are you and what time is it there then? Because it is, well, it's nearly 10 o'clock here. Or is it you have work at 6 tomorrow morning? Either way. Okay, so yep, that has all been nice. So we've sent the, that's sending the username and password. And we don't need that stud string R anymore. Ah, you're in Birmingham. Gosh, you're not a million miles away at all then, are you, Bionic Yeti? Do I get the feeling you're probably someone who I know in offline? Do I get the feeling that you could probably drop me messages on other social networks? Tell you what, let me add you in. Let me get you into the Discord if you want to, of course. You've already seen the Discord links. By the way, I've got another command button I keep forgetting to press, which is my Save a Prime sub one. We have a campaign going for anybody with, well, there are so many unused Amazon Prime subscriptions, and I think it's a waste because Amazon are getting to keep money that really I'd rather they didn't. So if you do have Amazon Prime, or if you know someone with Amazon Prime, ask them to drop a subscription this way. You don't owe me. Fair enough, Bionic Yeti. In which case, how did you find the stream, if you don't mind me asking? How did you find us? And, you know, hopefully you'll be back at some point. Yeah, let me know. No, I know enough people down in Birmingham that it's always a little bit worrying when it is someone from down there. It's always a little bit perturbing. Anyway, read handler is there. Do you know what? Does this could we pull these out of here? And make them what's it? Oh gosh, hang on. got potential issues here. So, could I do this? Hang on, let me think about this. Can this work? Science and technology option on Twitch, and you like the nerdy stuff. Well, welcome in. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully it's not going too far for us. Yeah, that hasn't got any of that. We don't get the this function. We can't use this within the body of this lambda. Why can we not? Essentially, what I want to know is how do we use boost within how do we use this ASIO thing within a class? Because this still looks a little bit not classiness. Let's have a look. Yeah, we know all this. So this is still just, again, we're not extracting anything here. This is all completely... Oh, hello. This could be interesting. Do you know what? Anyway, see you later, Bionic Yeti. Make sure to drop in the Discord and say hello and all the other wonderful things. If you would be so kind, please and thank you. And I'm going to... do you know what? I'm going to have a 5-10 minute break or something like that. Probably only a 5-minute break. I shall be back and we shall have a play with this, because this looks interesting. Alright, I won't be long. If everyone would be so kind as to get yourselves looked after, make sure you have a drink, make sure you have a stretch of your legs, take care of business, all the rest of it. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I shall leave you with the normal music on this channel because I, for some reason, don't bother playing anything else. See you in about 5. Get a drink. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I didn't realise. Yeah, apparently you could hear me while I was gone because I was using a different source. Ah, fun of funs. Hang on, let me quickly change that. Can everyone still hear me? Is that more reasonable? Let me check another scene quickly. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, hello Moiku, how are you doing? I am failing at streaming tonight apparently. Hang on, I forgot to do something as well. Let's go back to there. And now I'm back.
Our community grows.
Thank you for that follow, Gregor Cleggan. How are you doing? I'm pretty convinced I've probably pronounced that wrong, but never mind. That's typical for me. Please do tell me how badly I've pronounced that, and how it should actually be pronounced so that I don't mess it up and butcher it again. Well, I will probably mess it up and butcher it again, and I will apologise for that, but hopefully not. Hopefully. Gregor Cleggan, when you click my profile icon on my website, it's a 404. So hang on, let's have a quick debug of this. I mean, to be fair, the last thing I did on there was 2018. And then I click that, and it should work. What URL are you going? /about doesn't exist. Okay. Thank you for that. I will try and fix that at some point. Because the homepage is actually /about. And I need to see if I can remember how to work that website. I will probably be changing a lot of things there anyway. Right, so we've got a connection being followed, being created. Well, this is enable shared from this. What is this? So we're going to create a socket. Start binds. Oh, so you can bind with Boost, which is interesting. Oh no, this is getting complicated. With handle reads, handle writes. This is getting a lot of mean. Actually, we can just do a synchronous one, can't we? In theory, we're fine doing that. So realistically, there's no. As horrible as it sounds, we've been doing everything synchronous anyway, or what? We can move to async, but I don't know. Let's try it. Let's move to async, because thinking about that does enable a lot more interesting things. We are playing with a Twitch bot, writing a Twitch bot in C++. And I'm glad that I got that right. Thank you very much. I had to get something right today. I had to get one thing right. So what have we got? We've got immense amounts of boost, including bind ASIO. Let's tell you what. Let's start this again, kind of from scratchish, and steal most of this. And then we'll work from it. I want to read this in Visual Studio rather than anything else, because reading it here is going to be annoying. And then we'll massage it, mess it around, whatever you want to call it, to make it more reasonable. Including, I think, one of the first things that we'll do is creating the class again. And at this point, all of these actually need to be this kind of thing. Copy that, there, just to try and get this all a little bit more reasonable and get the headers out. So let's get a header out of here actually. Oh, and that. And then we cut that lot, drop it in our new connection. Deal with that at some point. Paste it there. I already know I'm going to need that username and password anyway. TCP socket sock. That I know to be a boost. ASIO, IP, TCP socket. Artlong, Twitch connection. So realistically, everything in here needs to be a Twitch connection, not Twitch Connect, because I am goof. That's all the handlers. Con handler, not allowed in member. Yeah, of course, because we now need to remove that. And everything's been not nice now. Con handler. Con handler is okay, is what they're calling it, so I'm going to call it Twitch connection. And that all of a sudden means that we're now looking for an IO service. That IO service cannot be defined in the current scope. How long have I been working on this? A few weeks now, I think. I've got some YouTube videos actually from when we started this. Let me grab a playlist for you. Now, if I were a good streamer, I would have this kind of thing to hand. And the reason I'm now looking that way is the 3-monitor setup. So if we now go to playlists, bot building, why has that only got 3 videos in it? That's completely wrong. That should have a lot more than that. Do I need to go to the studio here and fix this? This needs pretty big fixing. Let me have a look at what's going on here, because these should all be in the same playlist. Or am I making something up here? If I go there, go to the edit playlist, it's not. Wow. We don't have everything in the playlists like they should be. I don't think Premiere's uploading things right. Can I quickly add these to a playlist? Yes, I can. That's handy. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 now added, I suspect. So if I say we'll add those, in fact, let's just do all of them. I know that you can't see what I'm doing right now, and I'm sorry for that, and I'm sure that the horn command would be hit if someone were in that position, but let's make sure that all of these are where they belong. Because right now, we should be in that playlist. Because to not be would be a bit silly. I did wonder what was going on here. Let's go back to my YouTube. Let's go to bot building in C++, view full playlist. I will bet that this is all completely out of order. It is. Right, I need to work at getting this in order. But, oh, yeah. Control V. Thank you. That's the playlist with them all in. I will sort out orders and things at some point. IO service cannot be defined in the current scope. And why is this moaning about this? I'm liking the music on here. There must be a party going on nearly next door. We've had Hadaway What Is Love. Now we've got some REM Losing My Religion. I mean, if I got them to play loud enough that you guys could hear, we'd have a problem. If I were to start singing it, however, that wouldn't be a copyright strike because there's no way anyone would work out what this was. So why can I not get that IO service? Just to be a little bit more realistic again, and to be more of a reasonable person. That's the. Well, maybe I need to chuck this constructor in the header. Let's see if that helps matters. Oh, I do know what this is as well. Because I mean that bit's correct. But of course it needs to be a. Does the constructor need to be that? Apparently yes, but now we've got more problems. We've got massive problems here. Okay. So, what is pointer? Where's this coming from? Should we, just for now, and I don't like this, fair point, Minx Heroes, I thought you might. I thought that might be the thing. Let's just stick these usings in for now. Now, I'm not keeping those two. They can go away. Because I can't justify using standard stuff like that. So next move, what is this pointer? Where is it from? And what do I do with it? That is in ASIO buffers iterator.hpp, which I says, well, we've got the includes in. I mean, to be fair, these includes should be in the header. Getting their Codebase Alpha at the moment. I'm trying to just create the Twitch connection as a boost connection, so that we can strangle out the Twitch socket and get it gone, and then I can start playing about with compiling this on multiple operating systems. At some point, we ought to set up a continuous integration build for this as well. Again, partly to prove that we can. I'm not claiming it's a good idea, I'm just saying we should. There's a big difference. So conhandler now shouldn't be conhandler, it should actually be Twitch connection. That's where that's moaning. So now Twitch connection.h should compile, which this should now. Hang on, pointer is undefined. And pointer is. That's a type def. Why have we got a type def there? Because that's not working. Although, to be fair, we probably do need to start doing this. So that's public, that's fine. Let's do that. That now shouldn't moan. That should stop moaning in a second. That now is still saying that pointer is undefined. But we've got the type def in. Function definition not found. Of course. Again, me not knowing C++ particularly well. Remember, that shouldn't be static there because we've already declared that it's static above. Pointer, Twitch Connect create. So I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I do wonder if we need that type def to be somewhere else though. Or if it needs to be qualified. Do we need to qualify that? Do we need to do this? Well, let's do it a bit more reasonably. Okay, and that's again a new Ooh, there's the use of that horrible word there, new. Ooh, that makes me a little bit unnerved. Okay, so creating the pointer, however we do that, is in. So we're getting things closer to compiling. Right, what have we now got the problem with? We don't have a definition for socket in the header file. That's, again, very fixable. Now everything's going to be public for now. We'll look at what needs to be public later on. Well, let's just try and get through this as reasonably quickly as we can. Why are you claiming to be incompatible? I disagree. I'm probably wrong to disagree. You're incompatible with error type, yada yada yada, declared at line 19. So you're a TCP socket, ampersand, Twitch connection socket. And that would be because you actually need to be a BoostASIO IP TCP socket. Do you? Why are you claiming that you actually know what you're talking about? Because you shouldn't. Okay, so that's now working. Cool. So we're now getting somewhere. We can at least start at the very minimum. We can do this mechanically and get this to at least compile. This is now going to moan about conhandler because conhandler isn't conhandler. Shared from this is because we need to enable boost shared from this. That's fine. We'll do that as well. So we can turn this into a shared pointer. I believe that is. I mean, what I'm doing now is just adding all this code in. We will go back later and look at what it all does. We'll probably have to do that at the start of our next stream on Sunday night, because I'm literally going to make this compile and then I am going to get myself not here. So again, we've got this right. I am not having cout and endl without the studs in front of them. That's not going to happen. That again, we've got, well, I mean, I can just copy that because I know that we're taking void. That we're returning void. So that's the handle read that should work. The handle write is also void. Cool. So that should do both of those. That handle write should now behave itself. We need the standard whatevers in. Well, that's fine. We can add those. I now want to look at these and chuck them in the precompiled headers. Or the precompiled headers, because that's a thing. Why we've got trailing spaces, I will never know, because people who stuff me with those trailing spaces are not nice people. And if we build this, I know that we're not using the cross-platform connection, but I think that we ought to leave on a bit of a cliffhanger, just occasionally. Boost, enable shared from this is not allowed apparently. Error list. Oh, we have ambiguous symbols. Why have we now got ambiguous symbols in here? Using namespace, standard placeholders. What's this moaning about? Include is not a template. Build rebuild solution, because this looks a bit dodgy. The argument to a feature test macro must be a simple identifier. I don't like this. Let's get those out of the precompiled headers. Let's just drop them where they belong. And again, get rid of the spaces. there and assume that we're not going to try and do this with these headers precompiled, which would be a bit of a shame, but should be doable. The argument to a feature test macro must be a simple identifier that's in config.hpp. Whoa. Okay, we've got a problem here. Let's go for that. The argument, yada yada yada. Let's see what happens here. Boost MSVC. Because this should be this is not nice. If has CPP attribute. Okay, have we got too much stuff in the precompiled? Is the precompiled header messing me up here? Let's do clean. Let's do a complete rebuild and see what's going on. This is a little unfortunate, but hey, we'll deal with it. The argument to a feature test macro must be a simple identifier. This is config.hpp. Where is this actually located? This is in boost system detail. Yeah, I will see you in a bit then, Codebase Alpha. Hopefully I can at least get past this issue. See you Sunday, yeah. Hopefully I shall be on Sunday. That is the theory. And this is something that I need to go MSVC. Using those today. That's fine. Using no discard, that's all fine. That's all fine. Because we've got those. Define. Yeah. The argument to a feature test macro. The argument to a feature test macro. Okay, so that's Visual Studio is deciding to fail. Oh, we've got a... Really? A compiler bug? This really going to try and tell me this? MSVC. Okay, boost. Let's not look for the what's it? Let's not necessarily look for oh hello, mailing list. Newly added macro. Oh, is Microsoft really? Is this really a Microsoft issue? Really? No. Please don't be this kind of problem. Please. Pretty please. Okay, so why can't we do this? The argument to a feature test macro must be a simple identifier. And quote that, because that is basically what it is. Okay, let's see what happens if we change that to 86 for now. Build, rebuild solution. Rebuild all started. Rebuild all started. Is it going to play nicely? Yeah, people are saying that VS is the wrong thing to use for this. Yada yada yada. This is again a cute issue here, but it's the same cute. It's the same issue that we've got. So hang on. By updating the header file. Hash if whatever. Clang folder. Yeah. What is Qt has CPP attribute? Do we need to check if we are Clang? Let's do that. Let's ask if we are Clang and then end if there. And this way, that should not moan at all. So if we rebuild this now, so we've actually just found an error potentially in boost, which is a little bit annoying because I'd like to have not had this be an issue. However, rebuild the world. And we've got an unresolved external. We will have an unresolved external because there's one more thing we hadn't considered. When we... Oh no, we've got Windows.h in. Oh, have I've taken out the... Yeah, I know what I've taken out. I know what I've done here. I have goofed, ladies and gentlemen. I need to go to Git. I'm just going to get it from the GitHub. Because I took out some... Whoa, what's going on here? Let's go to the right project, shall we? That would help. I have done a bit of a major goof. We're not linking to the correct libraries anymore. So, where are we? There's main.cpp. Wow, that's a little bit old. That was updated a week ago. That I disagree with. And that hasn't got in the thing that I was expecting to see. Why is it so? .lib. Right, we have pragmas. Playsound A. Let's look up where Playsound A lives again. Let's do this properly. Playsound A, because we've got the Playsound function. It is in which library? winmm.lib. Cool. So what we actually need to do is add the pragma comment lib, and it's winmm.lib, so we'll add that one, and that should now build. That is my theory. Whether my theory is correct or not, who knows, but that is my theory. So we'll do a full rebuild. if this works, then in fact, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit and start looking for live coders who are live, just to make sure that we have someone to raid. Shall we go and raid Ted? We like Ted. He's always worth a good raid. Oh, he's on a break. Hang on. No, let's go and raid Bobby. Let's go and raid Robert Tables. I don't know if we've raided Robert Tables before. So that build succeeded. So everyone, I will see you all on Sunday. We're going to drop a raid towards Robert Tables, another member of the Live Coder stream who is pretty damn wonderful, and working with Gatsby JS, moving more to advanced things. That could be interesting. So I will see everybody very, very soon. See you all on Sunday, folks. Oh, and before we do, why don't I fire up the bot and go raid call. So remember everyone, when we go in, spam that raid call in chat. Let's make sure that it's known that we are raiding. I will see everybody on Sunday. Have fun and have a good weekend. Bye for now. Oh, and I've got to wait the 10 seconds, haven't I? Yay! Remember the raid call, people. Remember the raid call. Bye for now.